What if destiny had taken a different path? What if the lion cub of Cintra, the Lady of Space and Time herself, had ascended to the most powerful throne on the continent? Picture this: Cirilla Fiona Ellen Rhiannon, granddaughter of the Lioness of Cintra, daughter of Emperor Emhyr var Emreis, wearing the crown of Nilfgaard. The implications would shake the very foundations of the world Andrzej Sapkowski so masterfully created. Welcome, dear viewers, to another deep dive into the endless possibilities of the Witcher universe. Today we journey into a timeline where prophecy and politics collide in ways that would make even the Lodge of Sorceresses tremble. Before we embark on this alternate history, I'm curious. From which corner of our own world are you watching? Are you joining us from the cold northern realms of Scandinavia, or perhaps from the sun-drenched lands that mirror Nilfgaard's southern empire? Share your location in the comments below. Let's see how far across our own continent this community spreads. And if you find yourself drawn to these explorations of what might have been, consider subscribing to join our fellowship of lore seekers. Ring that notification bell, for in the world of The Witcher, as Sapkowski teaches us, something more always awaits those who dare to look deeper. Your support through likes and shares helps us continue these journeys through the infinite branches of Destiny's tree. To understand what Ciri's ascension would mean, we must first paint the canvas of possibility. In the canonical timeline, Cirilla rejects her birthright 3 times, once at Stigger Castle, again after the events of the Tower of Swallows, and finally, definitively, in the game's continuity. But what if, instead of running from the weight of empire, she had embraced it? Picture the throne room of Nilfgaard where the black sun banners hang like shadows of conquest. The year is 1275, shortly after the events of the Lady of the Lake. Emhyr var Emreis, the White Flame, dancing on the graves of his foes, stands before his court, but this time beside him stands not a reluctant heir, but a willing successor. Ciri, tempered by trials, educated by Yennefer, trained by Geralt, and awakened to her elder blood powers. This is not the scared girl who fled Cintra's burning towers. This is Ciri, who has walked between worlds, who has seen the white frosts approach, who understands that sometimes to save everything you love, you must first seize the power to protect it. Let us first examine the geopolitical earthquake this would cause. Nilfgaard, under Ciri's rule, would become something unprecedented, an empire led by one who embodies both conqueror and conquered. She is simultaneously the heir of Nilfgaard's imperial line and the last of Cintra's royal blood. As Sapkowski wrote, "Something ends, something begins." But in this timeline, the ending and beginning are one and the same. Consider the Northern Kingdom's reaction. Ciri is not just another Nilfgaardian emperor, she is Calanthe's granddaughter, the lion cub that Cintra died trying to protect. Would Temeria's nobles still resist if their conqueror bore the face of martyred innocence? Would Redania's King Radovid dare to burn witches and non-humans if the Empress herself carried elder blood and was raised by a witcher? The Lodge of Sorceresses would face an impossible paradox. Philippa Eilhart's carefully laid plans assumed Ciri could be controlled, molded into a puppet queen for a reformed North. But an Empress Ciri, with the full might of Nilfgaard behind her and the elder blood flowing through her veins, would be no one's puppet. She would be what Tissaia de Vries once warned against, a sorceress queen with actual hereditary power, combining magical might with political authority. But what of Ciri herself? How would the crown change the girl who once said, "I want to be a witcher, not a lady"? The psychological transformation would be profound. In accepting the throne, Ciri would be forced to reconcile the irreconcilable parts of her identity. She would need to balance the free spirit that Geralt nurtured with the iron discipline Emhyr demands. The girl who once played knucklebones with rats in Kaer Morhen would now command legions. Think of the internal conflict. Every order to advance the armies would remind her of Cintra's fall. Every diplomatic marriage proposal would echo her father's original terrible intention. Yet perhaps this very conflict would forge a new kind of ruler. As Andrzej Sapkowski often explores in his works, it is our struggles with destiny that define us, not our surrender to it. Yennefer's teachings would serve her well here. The sorceress taught Ciri not just magic, but the art of wearing masks, of being simultaneously authentic and strategic. an Empress Ciri would master what Machiavelli called the lion and the fox. Strength when needed, cunning when required. In the vast multiverse that Ciri herself can traverse, we've seen echoes of this possibility. In one world, she becomes a witcher on the path. In another, she vanishes into the realm of Arthurian legend. But the Empress ending carries unique weight because it doesn't require her to abandon her world. It requires her to rule it. Compare this to Calanthe's fate. The lioness chose death over submission. But what if her granddaughter chose transformation over resistance? Where Calanthe saw only black and white, Nilfgaard bad, Sintra good, Ciri would see the grayscale that Geralt taught her to recognize. She understands that sometimes monsters wear crowns, and sometimes heroes must become what they once fought. This mirrors the transformation of Emhyr himself, from the cursed Duni to the Emperor who would burn the world to save it from the White Frost. Like father, like daughter, both shaped by prophecy, both willing to sacrifice their humanity for a greater purpose. Here we must delve into the deepest waters, the elder blood and its purpose. Ithlin's prophecy speaks of the seed that will not sprout, but will burst into flame of the white frost that will cover the world. An Empress Ciri would not just be a political ruler. She would be a mystical guardian standing between dimensions. With the resources of an empire at her disposal, imagine what Ciri could accomplish. The imperial libraries would be scoured for knowledge about the conjunction of spheres. The best sages would be assembled not for war, but for understanding the cosmic threat approaching. Where a wandering Ciri might face the White Frost alone, an Empress Ciri could marshal the entire world's resources against it. This transforms Nilfgaard from conqueror to potential savior. The Black Sun banner becomes not a symbol of oppression, but a rallying point against cosmic annihilation. As Avalach once suggested, perhaps conquest was always just Emhyr's method of unifying the world against a greater threat. And here, dear viewers, we reach the heart of our speculation. The profound transformation not just of Ciri, but of the very nature of power in the continent. An Empress Ciri would represent something unprecedented in Sapkowski's carefully crafted world. The synthesis of all its contradictory forces. She is north and south, conquered and conqueror. She carries elven blood, but was raised by humans. She knows the witcher's neutrality and the monarch's obligation. She has felt the powerlessness of being hunted and would wield the power to hunt. This is not the violent revolution that Falka promised, nor the slow decay that the northern kingdoms represent. This is evolution, painful, necessary, and ultimately transcendent. The empire under her rule would be forced to confront its own contradictions. How can you preach Nilfgaardian superiority when your empress was trained by a mutant? How can you persecute elves when your ruler carries the eldest blood of all? Picture the Great Sun Ceremony, where instead of executing mages, Ciri would integrate them. Imagine the imperial court where a witcher, Geralt himself, could stand as advisor without shame or pretense. Envision diplomatic solutions where once there was only steel and flame. The Lodge's Philippa Eilhart once said, "Magic is power and power is magic." But Ciri would prove that true power lies not in magic alone, nor in armies, but in the ability to unite what was scattered, to heal what was broken. She would be what the continent never had, a ruler who understands both the commoner's struggle and the cosmic stakes. So we return to our question, what if Ciri had become Empress of Nilfgaard? The answer echoes through every possibility we've explored. She would have become the bridge between worlds, not just literally through her elder blood abilities, but metaphorically, politically, spiritually. The empire would transform from an engine of conquest into a guardian of existence itself. The North would find not subjugation but synthesis. The non-humans would discover not persecution but partnership. Yet this path would exact its price. Every Ciri who chooses the throne is a Ciri who never runs free through the forests with Geralt. Every timeline where she rules is one where she sacrifices the simple joy of being just Ciri. As Sapkowski reminds us through his entire saga, there is no change without price, no power without sacrifice. But perhaps that's the ultimate lesson of this alternative timeline. Sometimes the greatest act of love is accepting the burden others cannot bear. Sometimes The truest freedom is choosing your own chains. What do you think, fellow seekers of alternative histories? Would Ciri's sacrifice be worth the salvation it might bring? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's explore these infinite branches of possibility together. If this journey through unwalked paths intrigued you, our channel holds many more explorations of the roads not taken in fantasy's greatest worlds. From the depths of Tolkien's legendarium to the complexities of Sapkowski's continent, we delve where few dare to tread. Subscribe to join our fellowship of lore seekers, and remember, in the words of Geralt himself, evil is evil. Lesser, greater, middling. But if I'm to choose between one evil and another, I'd rather not choose at all. Yet sometimes, as an Empress Ciri would learn, not choosing is the greatest evil of all. Until next time, dear guardians of forgotten lore and seekers of untold stories, may you always find your path through the conjunction of all possible worlds.